lot of the major initiatives with the library. So she'll be able to give us some great insight. And she's the one who came up with the puzzle sale and the baskets for sale at Christmas time, that kind of thing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Roberta.
Hi, I was muted, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We mute everyone and we unmute the speaker.
Okay.
And we unmute Christine. I'm trying to unmute you. Just so that there's no interruption, you know, if there's some errant noise somewhere.
Right.
But I've introduced you, and we've talked a little bit about the library, not a whole lot, but there are some very interesting people here. And
Does everybody go to the library? Does this group use the library? Yeah, I'm getting lots of nods. Okay. Okay, well then, you probably know an awful lot about it, but I love our little library. I think it is just a treasure. It is, it reminds me of the library where I grew up in Penwyn. We had when I was little, it was very small. It was really not much bigger than our library here at Hershey's Mill. And I just have always loved it. And I think we have a great team getting this library in operation. You know, we were closed for a while when the building was being redone, and I missed it so much. Anyway, we're open and hopefully not closing again, except there is talk about renovations in the building, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. Probably nothing until at least 2022, maybe even later than that. So anyway, we have over 2,700 books in the library right now in our collection. We will have over 3,000 by next November. We cull the books once a year. So any books that have not been taken out for 3 years are culled, and we sell them for $1 each on the cart that's located outside the library during opening hours. We purchase new books every single month, 30 to 40 new books every month. These are chosen by Angela Linden, who's the chairman of the library board, and our librarian, Kathy Cruz. They use various tools to choose the books. Of course, there's always suggestions. We have a suggestion box in the library. So if there's something that you're interested in, just write it on the slip and put it in the box, and they will consider it. We don't buy old books. I mean, dated books, even if they're bestsellers. Like, for instance, I think we have, oh my gosh, it just left my mind. Well, let's say Gone with the Wind. I don't think we have that in the library, and that's not something we would purchase because it wouldn't turn over very much. We need to save our space for the new books that we purchase. Your HOA fees are what supplies the new books. We have a budget from the Master Association, and that allows us to purchase these 30 to 40 books each month. They are purchased now from Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble has given us an excellent deal with discounts and special offers. So we are using them exclusively now. The other funds that we use are for our supplies and operating expenses. These are generated from the sales that we have. I guess most of you know about our big book sale that we have in September after after Labor Day weekend. The weekend after Labor Day was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We have a huge sale in the main room at the community center. It's we have usually well over 2,000 books for sale. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that this year because of COVID. So, or I should say last year. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do it this year. We'll have to see how it goes. It'll probably be a last minute decision, or fairly last minute decision. The books that we are in the sale are books that everyone donates, that residents donate when they're cleaning out. We did get an awful lot last year, right after the pandemic started and people were quarantined and they were cleaning out their house. And we were getting bags of books that you were discarding. And we have those in the Sullivan House, in the basement of the Sullivan House, being stored and for the next big sale, which we hope will be this coming September. In the library, we subscribe to the Wall Street Journal daily and to Consumer Reports monthly. And they are located on the little table between the two comfy wing chairs. And people are welcome to come in and sit as long as they like and read the Wall Street Journal or use the Consumer Reports. But we ask that you not remove them from the library. They're for everyone's use. We also have Jigsaw Puzzles. And right now we're in the middle of a Jigsaw Puzzle sale, which started a couple of weeks ago, and it will continue for another week or two because of the bad weather we've had. I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to come in and see what we've got. We had a great first day when the sale started, and then it's kind of fallen off, but we've been getting new puzzles in. People are donating their puzzles that they got for Christmas and have now completed and are donating them. So it's changing. The puzzles on the table are changing all the time. We have a couple that I know will never sell. One is the Beatles White Album. Do you remember what the White Album looked like? It was just a blank white. It said Beatles on the top and just white. I would not want to do that puzzle. On the back of it is 4 records, 4 black vinyl records. I guess that might be a little easier, but that one, mark my words, is not going to sell. Maybe I should reduce the price of it. Right now we have $5 on most of the puzzles on the table. Maybe I should reduce that to $1 and see what happens. The jigsaws that we have in the library, not in the sale, but the ones that are part of our collection, are on the honor system. So you come in, take it, keep it as long as you like, but bring it back when you're finished, hopefully with all the pieces intact. Or in my case, I don't know if you can hear my dog upstairs barking, but in my case, she chews the puzzle pieces. So I have little notes on some of them, 2 chewed pieces, but they're not missing. She didn't eat them all, just chewed. The same goes for our audiobooks. We have a kiosk inside the library of audiobooks on CDs, and people are welcome to take those and keep those also for as long as they like and bring them back when they're finished. A lot of people that go to Florida or South Carolina for the winter will come in before they leave and take a bunch of them for their car ride down south, and then they'll bring them back to us in the spring. So please feel free to come in and browse those. They might be a little bit depleted right now because of all the people that are, have traveled south, but we still have a pretty good selection. DVDs, we have 1 kiosk of movies, DVD movies. It's jam-packed, and we've gone through it recently and pulled out any duplicates. So come in and take a look at that too. That's another good thing to have, maybe before the snowstorm that's supposed to start tomorrow. our sales, the current sale, book sale, other than the $1 cart that's outside of the library, is we have one section of our shelves for books for $2. I try to keep those books as current as possible. I don't put a lot of beat up books. And by the way, if anybody donates something that is very worn and tired, we sometimes throw them out, sometimes, but most of the time I donate them to the Baldwin Book Barn. They're very, very good about taking books that we can't sell. But anyway, so we have these $2 books. We've got fiction, hardback, a fiction trade paperbacks, and nonfiction and biography. And they're $2 each. And that's been a good money maker for us this winter. We also had a raffle before Christmas. So it started in November, a gift basket raffle of books, and those were very new books. And that did very well for us. So we hope to do that again next November. The library would not be able to operate without two things. Number one, our volunteers. I'm not in charge of volunteers. As you can tell, maybe I talk more about the used books because I'm in charge of the used book sale. But Kathy Fakui is in charge of the volunteers. And right now she has a pretty full list. But as you know, people move and unfortunately people get sick, and some people are maybe on her list but are not active right now because they don't want to be out in public yet. There's still a few people that want to stay home and avoid any contact. So if you're interested in being a volunteer, you would contact Kathy Fakui and she would put you on a list. And then when a spot becomes available, then she would train you on what we do, what the volunteers need to do. And we usually have a luncheon for the volunteers in April, which is a volunteer month. I'm sure we're not going to have that this year, but we're going to do something special for the volunteers. They work so hard for us, and people love it. They get upset if they come in and they see the list for the month, like Kathy put up the March list a while ago, and it fills up so fast because people love to come in and work in the library, especially now, I think, when people are so isolated and they want to come in and talk to people. And a lot of people love to talk about books and share their interest. And lastly, oh no, not lastly. If you're curious about a book that you want, you can go onto hmlibrary.com and look up the book either by author or by title. We are not computerized to have you reserve it. We can't do that for you, but you will be able to see if the book is in our collection. And then you can come in and see if it's on the shelf. And it's just kind of fun to see. Sometimes people find an author that they like, and then they want to go and see what else we have by that author. And you can just go in and put the author's name and you'll see all the books that we have written by that person. So lastly, Friends of the Library. This is another way that we raise funds for our operating expenses. We ask for a $10 donation or more per year per person. And that way you're a friend of the library. There are times when Friends of the Library get something a little extra. For instance, if we have the big book sale in September, on Friday night or late Friday afternoon before the sale starts on Saturday, we invite Friends of the Library to come in for a preview. We have wine and cheese, and people love to come in because they get first dibs on the books. And they walk out with bags of books. We'll be selling those for $2 each at the big sale. No more $1 books. The amount of work that goes into putting this sale together, again, the volunteers are just priceless. The other person, I said there were two things that we couldn't operate without. And the other one is Eddie, the custodian in the community center. He's the one that takes all the books for me that I've boxed up over to the Sullivan House. And last year, when we ended up not having the sale, I had to have him bring them back so I could sell some of them within the library. So he's just a treasure. And the day of the setup for the sale, he usually has some people from the landscape section come and help him wheel the books into the room. It's an unbelievable amount of work that goes on, and I could never do it myself. I pack up the books myself pretty much. I have help sometimes. I have a few people that like to help, but most of the time I do it myself because I'm more discretionary than some other people. Some other people will never, ever, ever throw a book away. And if there's a book that we are donated that's written in and highlighted and the pages are torn and the cover's hanging off, I'm sorry, I'm throwing it out. And there are other people that just won't do that. It goes in the box, and then when we unpack them for the sale, there we find these torn up books. But anyway, I think that's about it. Special sales, yeah. Any questions?
Hold on a second, I'll unmute everybody.
What are the hours of the library?
Oh, good question. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 2, and Saturday from 10 to 12.
So if I wanted to come by and get a puzzle, I've never really done a puzzle before, but I know that I purchased some puzzles. So I have a few friends that just are puzzle crazy.
Right.
And so where would I would come into the library, and where are the puzzles that are for sale?
The puzzles that are for sale right now are on the big round table. I mean, you can't miss it.
Gotcha.
And then the puzzles that were in the honor system are underneath the windows on the right-hand side of the library.
Roberta, oh,
Yes.
sorry. I wouldn't mind getting on the list to be able to help you with the book sale or whatever you might need. I don't know what your last name is.
Ullman, Ullman.
U-L-M-A-N?
Ullman. Uh-huh.
Okay. And I'll just look you up in the directory.
I just wrote your name down too.
Yeah,
Because-
Michelle Cohen.
Yep, because I when we know we're having the sale, I will put up a list on the bulletin board so people can sign up to help, whatever days they can help. But I would love that.
Okay. And even a suggestion, if the weather is good, and we can keep the parking lot, if we can maybe, did you ever think of having a sale outside?
Well, we have thought about it, but I don't think it's a good idea to leave the books out overnight.
Well, and maybe just do half or a quarter of like 2 weekends in a row. Just put a section out, part of it one day. I mean, it's a lot of work for one day.
It is.
And then, just do, because you said you have numerous amount of books.
Yep.
And, do it maybe like 3 weekends or 2 weekends.
I will, would you like to be in charge of that?
I might be able to help you with that.
I mean, I don't mind. I have a lot of energy, and if I'm here and I have the availability and we can schedule it, and you only need about a couple of hundred or 100 books out. So I don't know how many boxes that would be.
No, you need much more than that, because then you're limiting the amount of.
But I'm just trying to limit the amount of work for a one-day process.
Yeah.
So that if you have it multiple days or multiple weekends, one day a weekend, you're going to have a series of people coming because the books are going to change.
True. It's something to consider. We did think about it this past year, but it's so hard to plan because of the weather. You don't know sometimes until a day or two before if it's really going to rain. We were even thinking about doing it on the porch at Sullivan House. That was an option, but that's kind of a tight space too.
Yeah,
Very tight.
Yeah.
that's why I was thinking that parking lot, because that's a little wider, right outside the library, so that you still have
Right.
parking for the people that are coming.
Yeah.
And you just set up, do you have tables and things like that?
Well, Eddie brings,
Eddie could get it.
Eddie does the tables for me. In the
And you just do a quarter of the books that you have. I don't know how many you have, but just
over
set it up that way.
over 2,000.
Okay, so, you don't do any more than a couple hundred, because that's a lot of work.
Right. Yeah, it is. Well,
Yeah.
it's a thought, and I will bring it up to the board and see what they say.
Okay.
But I,
Okay.
The other place you could use is at the pool under the canopies there. That's pretty open and pretty extensive.
Oh, and it is protected.
Yeah,
yeah, true.
the code is right there to store them or whatever.
Right.
Roberta,
That would be a lot of work to
books out.
transport them, but
sell.
Yeah, but they're transporting them anyway from the Sullivan House. So,
Roberta, you put the 2,000 books out each year. How many do you sell in a day?
I don't know what we sell in a day. The first night we sell quite a bit because, like I said, the people come for, first dibs. I would say out of 2,000, we sell 1,000.
Oh,
I'd
that's
say
a-
it's 50%. That's good.
50%.
that's great.
Yes. So if you do 100 each time, and 200, and you sell 100, you knock it out anyway.
Yeah. It's a thought. I will bring it up to the board. I'm hoping we can do it in the main room. We don't know. Hopefully by September, everyone is going to have their vaccine and we'll be able to have 150 people. We don't get that many people in during Saturday and Sunday at one time. They come, it's spaced out over a period of time. On Sunday, most people that come to the sale know this. On Sunday after 12, we sell everything for half price. So then we get busy because people come in with their bags. They know that we're going to have this 50% off sale.
Do you think we're going to have to follow the rules for ventilation? Do we have proper ventilation in there if we have it inside?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, I think we have good ventilation in that room.
Okay. All right.
The ceiling is so high.
Right.
The doors, we have 2 doors, plus the ones out off the foyer. Wait, no, 3 doors. Two doors. 1, 2.
What weekend do you normally do it?
It's the weekend after Labor Day.
After Labor Day.
Right.
Yeah, that's usually the weekend I go away, but we'll talk.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
Do you
Yeah,
prefer fiction or nonfiction books?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you prefer fiction or nonfiction books, or doesn't it matter?
It doesn't matter because a lot of people only read nonfiction and a lot of people only read fiction. Everybody, has their own preferences, mysteries, and I lump all the fiction together. I don't separate mysteries from historical fiction, or we just don't have the space to do that. But we have a lot of nonfiction that we do separate by history and politics and biographies, that those are separate. So it's really whatever you like best. In the library, we have really every category. We do not have reference books except for the bird books that, is he still here? Mr. Amond. Yes, Dr. Amond.
I see.
Donated some reference books about birds, and we have those on the shelf behind the check-in desk, so people can come in and look at those. But we don't have the space for other reference books, so we've limited to what he's given us.
For correction, those were given by the Hershey's Mill Nature Group.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I said just for correction, the books were provided by Hershey's Mill Nature Group.
Oh, sorry. But you brought them to us, right?
I brought them, yes.
Yes, okay.
Another question came up before you came on the program this morning. Someone suggested that if we have authors within Hershey's Mill, that perhaps there ought to be a reserved area or a shelf area that just features those books, make them
Oh,
make
okay.
it rare that
Good
they're
idea.
available.
That's a good idea. If we do have this renovation that they're talking about, we will have more shelf space because I understand we'll lose the windows in the front. So that will give us more shelf space and we'll be able to do things like that. And speaking of those authors within Hershey's Mill, I'm not involved with this, but I believe that Angela and other people on the board are trying to put together some talks. So people will, the authors will come in and talk about their books or just about writing. So that's something to watch out for. We'll
That's a
probably,
good idea too.
yeah.
Yeah, with that, they could do that Zoom, so you can grab a larger audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they could. But
You could film it.
we're hoping
Film.
to do it after. Yes, but we could film it. That's right.
For Channel 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. We could do that, but we're hoping to be able to do it. We had someone last year. I don't know if you came to that talk. He wrote about his life in Philadelphia, and there was a big article in the Inquirer about him fairly recently. And he came and we used the big room at the community center.
What was his name?
Richard, I want to say Krasner, but I know that's not right. It starts with a K. It could be Krasner. I'm sorry, I don't remember. We have his book in the library.
In order for that, please count me in as a children's book author if you'd like.
Oh,
And if you would like, I could always reach out. My wheels are turning now. If you would like to maybe do like a fundraiser for the library, was on the board of the press club, which is for journalists and authors and whatnot. And George Anastasia is an acquaintance of mine, and he's a pretty famous Philadelphia author. And he writes about the mob.
Mhm.
And he's an awesome speaker too. So if you wanted to do something like a smaller scale speaker series, I'd be happy to reach out to some of my authors. And we have so many here. For example, Coach Teresa Grentz. Carl Grentz's wife is a very, very famous. She was not only in a movie, for Immaculata basketball, but she is a world-class Olympic women's basketball coach
Okay.
who has written a book.
Oh, I didn't.
And she's a very good friend of mine. But as I said, it's really quite endless. And I think that would be really something fun for our community here.
Pam, what is your last name?
Mariani, Mariani.
Right. Okay, great. I will be in touch.
Awesome.
Somebody from the library, not necessarily me. Would probably be Angela or maybe Kathy, the librarian.
Certainly. Would you want my number?
Sure.
215-669-5661.
I'm sorry, 5.
661.
Okay, good. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be over shortly for a puzzle.
Okay, good.
And this is a really silly question. How do you know if the puzzles are small or big? You can tell I've never done a puzzle.
You mean the pieces?
Is it number of pieces?
Oh, the number of pieces are on the box. It's we have a lot of thousands. There's one 2,000 piece puzzle.
Whoa.
that my sister-in-law donated, and it's a lovely puzzle, and she loved doing it, but nobody's buying it.
Hey,
And then some smaller ones, 300, 500. But
gotcha.
sometimes it's the size of the pieces that make it easier or more difficult too. And some of them are pretty tiny.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any more questions for Roberta? This has been really interesting, Roberta. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Well, thank you. I hope you all come to the library, and I'm assuming most of you are readers, but we really, really have a nice collection. And here's one thing I didn't mention, and it's really one of the top reasons to use our library, is that when there is a bestseller book on the New York Times bestseller list or the Philadelphia Inquirer bestseller list, if you go to Chester County Library and click on that book, you might be number 210 in line for it to reserve it for you.
Right.
We don't have a reserve here, but it could be on the shelf at any time. So it's a great reason to get into the library and see what we have. When you walk in on the right-hand side, those shelves are the new books, the ones that are popular and the newest books. And we also have them in the mystery section. Well, we have new books for nonfiction, mystery, biography, and fiction. And those are the ones like Barack Obama's book has been very popular. That's a pretty thick one. I don't think I could read that in 3 weeks. The books are all 2-week books, except for 450 pages or more than their 3 weeks. And we have a pretty nice selection of large print. They're also 3 weeks. I've never understood why large print books are 3 weeks, because there's the same number of words that, but they are, what can I say? But anyway, come in and find a great book to read before go in today, before 2 o'clock, because of the snow tomorrow that we're expecting.
Are those books
Well, thank you.
donated, or do you purchase them? The books, the new books that are on this,
They're all purchased. Every month we buy 30 to 40 new books.
and who determines the title for them?
That would be Angela Linden, our chairman, and Kathy Cruz, our librarian. They work on that together. And they go by the suggestions that are in the suggestion box and just the input that they get. I'm very opinionated, and I'm always sending them, you know, are you buying this? Are you buying that? And sometimes I can't wait and I buy it myself, which I just finished this morning, a book called Midnight Library. It's on the bestseller list. I bought it at Christmas time when I was out shopping for other people. I bought it as a treat for myself, and I finished it this morning. And I know that she's already got it on the list. We're covering books tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow. I guess we're not. When is the storm supposed to start?
Oh yeah, tomorrow
Tomorrow
night, I think.
No, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Tonight?
Tonight.
3 a.m. Thursday morning. Yeah.
Then we'll cover. But anyway, we buy the books monthly, and then there's a team of people that come in and cover the books, put the, you know, those plastic covers on them.
Right.
And Terry Marin is our secretary, and she inputs all the information into the computer so that they're in the system when you go onto hmlibrary.com. But we're supposed to do that tomorrow, but I don't think we will be if it's snowing.
Well, it started today, and they won't be able to go home.
Do you automatically buy the books from the book club that we have here in Hershey's Mill?
We, I believe Angela buys the books for the main one, the one that meets at Sullivan House, and for the mermaids.
The Boomers, I think it's called the Boomers. book.
Boomers, I'm not sure I don't know. I'm sorry. But yes, she does buy books that they request. If they're older books though, like I said, for instance, last year they did Rebecca, Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, and I think she did buy a copy of that, but that's just an example. That's one of those older books that she might not want to put in the collection. But that one, I believe she did. But yeah, she buys most of those books, but that's just one copy. You know, we don't have more than one. So you have to kind of stay on top of it because the whole book club's coming in trying to get it. And then those people that bought the book because they didn't want to wait to get it out of the library, then they donate the book and then we have them in the sale.
I have quite an extensive library myself. Predominantly I would assume, which is not a good thing to do, that you would prefer hardcover versus softcover.
No, not necessarily, because guess what? A lot of publishers are not publishing in hardcover anymore for the initial printing of a book. They're using softcover now. So it doesn't matter. We'll take softcover and then the smaller paperbacks, you know, the pocket books, they used to call them, those smaller paperbacks, we take those and we put those on the kiosks outside the library. That's also honor system. It really doesn't have anything specifically to do with us, although Kathy Fukui and I are very big about filling them. Well, you know, if we get a bag of donations, we'll fill the blank spots in those. But the trade paperbacks, that's what they call the, I'm looking for 1 second. I've never understood why they're called trade, but this size, was like 5 by 7, I guess.
Okay.
They're called trade paperbacks. And the New York Times used to distinguish between. You see what I mean? The size. New York Times used to distinguish between softcover and trade, and I don't believe they do anymore, but the Philadelphia Inquirer still does. When you look at their bestseller list on Sunday,
I thought so.
You'll see softcover, you'll see hardback, and you'll see trade, and this is trade. And these are very popular. They're easy to hold, and we can cover them with plastic, and they hold up really well.
Okay.
And one other source of books that how we choose books is it's called The Book Page. It's a publication that comes out monthly. The Chester County Library always had them on their desk. Of course, the Malvern Library has not been open for almost a year now, but they always had it on their desk, and we have it on ours. I don't know how many we get, but they're free. If you come in when they're in the little plastic holder, you take it, and that's what we use that. And in there, they review not only brand new books, but some that maybe were published last year and are just coming out in softcover or are coming out in audio. I don't think I can say, I mean, I love to talk about books, and if we could get into a subject of authors and everything, we'd be here all day into tomorrow. So if you don't have any other questions.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, very informative.
Thank you.
Thank you.